I'm excited to be with you here tonight, and it's my privilege to introduce to you our next keynote speaker, Rupa Kudva. Rupa is partner and managing director at Omidyar Network, where she leads the overall investment strategy and operations. Prior to joining Omidyar, Rupa was with CRISIL for 23 years, and she had been the CEO and managing director since 2007. She led CRISIL's transformation from being just India's premier rating agency to a diversified global analytical company. Rupa has also served as the Director of Financial Institutions Ratings at Standard & Poor's. She is on various policy-level committees relating to the Indian financial system and is an independent director on the board of Infosys. She keeps long working hours, and I was just chatting with her. She used to spend 10 hours earlier, and now it's more like 14 upwards. So I asked her what she does to manage her work-life balance, and she says, both of them are important to me. I value my work, and I value my life. So they're both equally important. One of Rupa's quotes that really struck a chord with me was, "Don't let what you cannot do get in the way of what you can do." As someone who has seen tremendous success and growth in her career, Rupa's talk, Mind the Gap, will address the transition between a senior management to a middle management to a senior management role. And that's why it's called Mind the Gap. What got you to a middle manager will not take you to the senior management. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Rupa Kudva.
Good evening. What an amazing and inspiring experience this is for me. I must say that I have never before been in a room with 2,000 accomplished women. And I really think that this indeed has to be one of the special moments in my life. Thank you to the Anita Borg Institute for inviting me. I heard that 8,000 women attended the last Grace Hopper Conference in the United States. And I'm hoping that it is not too long before we in India can exceed that number. When Geeta asked me to speak at this event, I was wondering, what aspect of women in the workforce should I speak about? So much has been said already about how women should stay the course and not drop out of the workforce, how organizations can be more supportive to women, particularly during critical phases in their lives, such as particularly when they start a family, how women should raise their hand more and ask for a seat at the table. All these are very important topics, no doubt, and they have been discussed several times, both at these forums and in other such conferences in recent years. I then heard that the profile of the audience here is mostly of women in middle management. That really told me that this means that many of you have already crossed the first challenge that women face in the early stages of their career, that is, of staying the course. In other words, not dropping out of the workforce for personal reasons, like getting married or starting a family, etc. So I thought to myself, the very fact that all of you here have reached the middle management level means that you're a highly motivated group. You have already decided that you are in this for the long haul, and you have made a very strong commitment to your careers and to doing well. So let me therefore talk about the next issue that women face, the need to begin thinking of themselves as leaders and to position themselves for leadership. I therefore thought a good topic would be for me to share with you some of the critical experiences or the critical issues that I myself faced in making the transition from middle management to senior management or top management. Let me begin by making 3 points. Number one, there are no easy jobs at the top. Number two, moving from middle management to senior management is one of the hardest career transitions to make. It is very difficult to get to the top, and it is very difficult to handle the top jobs, no matter whether you're a man or whether you're a woman. And three, the skills, the capabilities, and the relationships that have got you here are not the ones that are going to take you to the top. It is, in fact, a new set of skills, a new set of capabilities, and a new set of relationships that is going to matter. So whether you are able to make these shifts or not is what will determine your success. While we need to make several shifts as we move from middle management to senior management, let me speak about the 2 shifts that were the most major ones for me to make. The first is developing strategic capabilities, and the second is the ability to engage with and manage multiple stakeholders. Let me first talk about developing strategic capabilities. A lot about moving from middle management to senior management is about shifting our lens from a narrow, bottom-up, sometimes inside-out view to a broader, top-down, and an outside-in perspective. As strong performers in the middle management level, the easiest thing for everyone, and it was the same for me, was to adopt a very tactical approach. Why? Because in a tactical approach, the activities are concrete, the results are immediate, and you can see what you've achieved. Consequently, you get lost in the day-to-day flow of attending meetings, taking decisions, pushing projects along. But if we have to make the shift, we have to free our minds and our time to focus on higher level matters. This is important if we have to develop a strategic mindset. How did I learn to develop such a mindset? First, I think by focusing on the ability to see the big picture. I also realized that it is not just about the big picture. Moving seamlessly between the big picture and the detail and figuring out how the two relate to each other is also very important. It is very important to know when to focus on the detail and when to focus on the big picture. Next, the ability to discern very quickly what is important in a complex situation is also very important. That is, to separate the core issue from all the noise around it. Another important strategic capability is to anticipate how outside parties, whether it be competitors, the regulators, the media, or key members of the public will respond to what you do, predict their actions and reactions in order to define the best course of action. The question that is often asked is, given that this is what a strategic mindset entails, are strategic thinkers born or can they be made? According to a Harvard Business School report, the answer is both. There is no doubt that strategic thinking, like any other skill, can be improved with training. But the ability to sift through different levels of analysis, to recognize patterns, and construct mental models does require some natural capabilities as well. The second big shift that at least I found the hardest to make is the ability to engage with and manage multiple stakeholders. What do I mean by this? At the middle management level, you have successfully already moved from being an individual contributor to being a manager. Typically, the main stakeholders you deal with at middle management level is your team, your boss or your manager, as well as customers. You have got to where you are today because you have displayed the ability to handle these stakeholders in an accomplished manner. However, as you get to a more senior management role, you will find that a completely new set of stakeholders emerges with whom you have never interacted before. And how well you deal with these stakeholders will determine whether you succeed or not. Who are these stakeholders that I'm referring to? While this may differ from organization to organization, broadly, I'm referring to the following 6 stakeholders who you can see up on this slide. Your peers, the media, regulators and policymakers, board members, top management in your organization, and senior colleagues in the parent organization, which is particularly relevant as many of you here today, I understand, are from multinational companies. Let me begin with peers. Why are peer relationships important? They are important, I believe, for 2 reasons. Number one, with large global and matrixed organization, today, in order to succeed or to get your work done, you depend on so many people over whom you do not have a direct control. And many of these people are peers. The second reason I think peer relationships are important is this. When people are chosen for the senior jobs or the top jobs, not all your current peers are going to move up with you. And one of the things that people who make the decision to move you up take into account is, how is this decision likely to go down with your peers? Will it create problems? Will I end up losing people I do not want to lose because of this decision? So therefore, the more that you are seen as a quote-unquote natural leader or quote-unquote natural choice, even amongst your peers, the easier it will be for everyone or people who make the decision to move you up to take a decision on you. With peers, what is important is to engage with them, to make yourselves available, and most importantly, to keep your commitments. Also, it is very important that we move very quickly and with a sense of urgency to resolve conflicts and to resolve challenges and not engage in a blame game. Get to know your peers well and build relationships with them. The next stakeholder is the media. In this day of so much media, and more importantly, instant media, it is natural to get flustered when the media reaches out to you. But what I learned is this, that yes, it is important to revert promptly to media, but it is also important not to give off-the-cuff replies. Since journalists are themselves working under deadlines, a lot of people feel pressured or feel pushed when they get calls or emails from the media, and they respond immediately without thinking. I learned that it is perfectly acceptable to take the time to understand the background and the angle of the story, what exactly the reporter is looking for. And then, depending on the story, say that, let me check the facts, let me think about the issue, and respond. And while responding, whether in writing or in speaking, get to the point quickly.